So this game is called Phineas and Verb. It is a card game that allows children to review their verbs while also learning new ones. This game I found on Teachers Pay Teachers website. It is free to download. All you have to do is go on that website, find it, download it onto your computer, and then print off the cards and cut them out. There are actually two versions of this game on the same download. I'm going to walk through both of them, but the first one is easier than the second. It is more of a review, and the second one challenges the students more to learn their verbs and also teach them different tenses of it. This is version 1 of the game. It comes with 5 different cards, each having a different character on it, and each character asks something different for the child to answer in order to gain that card and win in the end. The way this game starts is that all the cards are shuffled and placed into a pile in between all the players. Each player will take a turn choosing a card, and each time they pick up a card, they have to choose which verb goes into the blank. So for this card, Doug is the right verb that goes into the blank, and if the player chose that verb, then they get to keep the card, but if they did not choose it, they have to put it back, and it is the next player's turn. The cards with verb on them are the exact same. The player has to choose which verb goes correctly into the blank. So the correct verb for this card is caught, and so if the player gets it right, they keep the card, but if they do not, then another player can steal the card, and if neither player knows what the correct verb is, then the card goes back into the pile and it is the next player's turn. So if a player picks up a Dr. Doofenshmirtz card, then they have to put all the cards that they have gotten right before back into the pile, and now they have no cards remaining. If the player picks up a Candace card, then they just miss a turn, but they do not have to put any of their cards back. If the player picks up a Perry the Platypus card, then they get an extra turn and an extra chance to win a card for their pile. The way they win this game is in the very end when there are no more cards in the middle of the players. Whoever has the most cards wins the game. This is version 2 of Phineas and Verb. In this version, the verb is actually given in the card. However, the player has to choose which tense of the verb is correctly used. So if a player chose one of these two cards, they would first read it by saying, "Phineas, wake up early this morning." They would need to recognize that wake is not the correct tense, and then they would change wake to woke. If they did not know to change that tense, then they would not win the card and it would be the next player's turn. Some cards have multiple tenses that could be used, like this one that says, "Verb often fight with his sister." Fights or fought could be used into the sentence, so if the player used any of those tenses, they would win the card. However, again, if they did not make the right tense, then they would have to go on to the next player, and the player could either steal, or if neither player got it right, then they would put that original card back into the pile and it would be the next player's turn. In this version, the Perry the Platypus, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and Candace cards are the exact same from version 1. The player can either win an extra turn, have all their cards stolen, or lose a turn. This game is also the same as version 1 in the fact that whoever has the most cards after all the cards in the middle are gone in the end win. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this becomes a fun way that your child can learn their verbs but not feel like they have to sit down and memorize them.